Hey guys, this is New Sensei. Today we have another archery Q&A and this one's a little late. I've been busy with school, work, exams, that sort of thing. And I'm currently waiting for a response from Archery Australia. For those who don't know, I've disputed a copyright infringement with Archery Australia. In their last national newsletter, they used one of my images as a heading, and that was obviously without my approval. The article itself did not meet my standards, and I did not write it, nor did I source it or endorse it. So there are a few things which I want to clarify. I do know that AA do take a while to respond to things. So this was last Thursday night, currently today Wednesday. So I don't expect an immediate response, and I'd much rather them take their time to deliver the proper response rather than rush it through and give me a substandard guarantee. So I'm just waiting for that to happen. I do have the shirt on, so I'm repping Australia still, but it'd be nice to clarify that. Anyway, this month I've got a few questions which I've handpicked from the Facebook page and YouTube comments and a few from emails. This time around, this is more like the I don't know edition because a lot of these questions can't answer. If I haven't picked a question, either it was something I actually don't know personally, or it's something that's quite complex and I need to spend more time doing a whole video to answer that question. So the first quick question comes from Mark, and Mark asks, when waxing the string, do you need to wax the serving? The answer is no. The purpose of waxing the string is to make sure the string is nice and lubricated so the strands don't rub together too much and fray, and therefore extend the lifespan of the string. The serving covers the string, so waxing it achieves nothing. Question from Journey. Are grips on recurve risers interchangeable? This one I'm not entirely sure about. I do know that manufacturers will release replacement grips for their own brand, like Hoyt will make Hoyt replacement grips. I'm not sure if they're interchangeable. So if someone does know, please post below, because I also have no idea. I've only used Win and Win, and I haven't used a replacement grip yet, so I honestly don't know. Stefan asked, how do I know if my finger tab is the right size? One of the frustrating things with buying finger tabs is that there's no way to really measure finger tab, and I basically categorize my hands into certain sizes. Juniors and kids and young females tend to have small hands. The average person has medium hands, whereas bigger people tend to have large hands. But that's a very broad category. If you have a finger tab, then the best way to judge is to decide, does the leather or the part of the finger tab cover enough of your fingers? If it's too small, then it won't be enough coverage. If it's too large, there'll be too much leather, it'll flop around and you can't put your fingers on the string properly. If it's just the right size, there should be a slight bit of overlap like that. And you should have enough coverage for your fingers, but not too much of the finger tab slipping off. It's probably easy to get a larger tab and trim it down to size rather than trying to use a smaller tab because it's not enough coverage for your bare skin. Another thing to keep in mind, this is not so much for most tabs, but some tabs like the Cubic Seeker, the size of the palm plate will also vary depending on your hand size. So you may have to judge using this part of the tab more so than this part, but it depends on what you're using. Two questions from Jerry. The first question is, what is the standard range for an indoor competition? 18 meters. Second question is, what is the average arc above the target at 70 or 90 meters? And for this question, I can't really give an answer because it's just way too vague. It just depends on your draw weight. Higher poundage bows, especially compound bows, will have a flatter trajectory. It's still a bit of an arc, but it's not as big as a recurve bow. They tend to go several meters above the target before coming back down. But it just really depends on your bow. You might see some of my event videos where I do capture close-ups behind the archer, and you might see the arrow drop down. Otherwise, do check out the footage from World Archery. They do sometimes show the behind the archer shots where you see the arc of the arrow. One of the odd things about footage from these major events is that they mostly capture the action scene, or the angle, the 3/4 angle. So if I'm shooting that way, you'll see like this part only. You don't really see the arrow flying towards the target. So it's usually this angle and then target cam. So that's why it can be misleading to think that it's quite easy. But to actually answer the question, there's no real answer. It just depends on what you're using. Irfan asks, have I used a thumb draw? The answer is no. It's only because I don't have a bow where a thumb draw is appropriate. I shoot barebow recurve and Olympic recurve, and they're both used in Mediterranean draw. Would I like to get eventually, if I do get a horse bow especially one day, that's something I'd definitely be interested in trying. But my current style of shooting don't really require thumb draw. So Razor asks, how big is my club? We're around 30 members. We haven't really exceeded this figure for quite a while. We seem to be floating at our typical sustainable level. People come and go all the time for various reasons, work, life, family, boredom. So we don't seem to have been able to grow past 30. There's no reason why we can't. We have the capacity to, but 30 is a nice small number. It's cozy enough. Most of us know each other. But nice to grow bigger and meet more people. And lastly, our question of the month comes from Mike. How often should I be practicing to keep moving forward? The short answer to this is as close to every day as possible. That may seem like an implausible suggestion, but that's really what it is. And there are several reasons why. The first reason is physical conditioning. Archery requires the use of muscles which most people don't use, and if you're coming to archery as a newbie, you probably haven't developed strength in your back muscles and your shoulder muscles to take the load of the shot. The more these muscles are developed, the more control you have over the shot. You may be surprised to see how quickly your physical conditioning deteriorates if you don't shoot for several days. This is perhaps more so with recurve than compound. Compound archers can probably leave it for a bit longer, come back and still shoot fairly decently. Recurve really needs to make use of your physical form along with your process in order to maintain that. The second reason is the mental side. A lot of archery is based on subconscious action. Things like aiming, things like drawing the bow back and anchoring and expanding. A lot of these become very fine-tuned actions. And if we don't practice frequently enough, these things are easily forgotten. You probably have an experience where you might be shooting really well for an entire day. Everything is sweet, you're not feeling tired, your shoulders are level, you're expanding nicely, your shots are gripping really well, and then the next week you just can't remember what you did. And that's part of the problem of not practicing frequently enough. You forget that. It's like anything that requires a lot of practice. Playing piano, for example. I haven't played piano for nearly a year now, and the songs which I've memorized and I can play off by heart, I can't play anymore, and I need to maintain that. The fluency, the dexterity. I can't maintain that same standard, or even actually do it anymore without frequent practice. And the same with archery. You leave it for a while, well, you might think, oh yeah, I'll come back, I'll be okay. You have to relearn the things you've forgotten, and these are things which are so subtle that if you don't maintain it, they will drop, they will fade, and you won't shoot anywhere near as good. This is perhaps my main fault with most new archers. It's that lack of commitment. Now, right here, I'm doing this Q&A, waiting for someone to turn up in around an hour's time because he wants to train evenings and nights. And that's the sort of commitment you need. You have to be willing to train after hours. I know most of us work in our families and can't really commit to that. Me included, I've got things to do, like things to mark. I'm a teacher after all. But the more excuses you make to not shoot, the more you will fall behind. In comparison, again, most people at my club will shoot perhaps once a week, if not that. But so once a week, it might be an hour a week or 2 hours a week. Nowhere near enough. That is not enough to maintain form, let alone try to progress. Progression means shooting frequently enough so that you grow and you go through the highs and the lows. The more you shoot, the sooner you come across the problems which everyone will face. The sooner you will come across form breakdowns, the sooner you will come across the frustrations and anxieties that plague all archers. You may find that one day you're not releasing well, or you can't expand, or something's gone wrong. And the more you shoot, the sooner you come across these things, and the more you know, oh, I have to fix these. If you just leave it for once a week or barely that, then you won't reach the point where these become problems. You'll be mediocre for as long as you shoot. That's a hard way of saying this, but that's probably what, in my opinion, if you only maintain that once a week routine, then you're stuck in that mediocre mindset. That's what it is. It's not an attack on new archers or people who can't commit. It's just my commentary on the fact that if you actually want to be better, if you want to become a good hunter, if you want to become a competitive shooter, then you have to make the time to shoot. So that's what I think. I do say as close to every day as possible. This may not be possible, but you have to really, if you want to progress, you have to seriously set time aside to shoot. You need to find every opportunity you can to get some practice in. Anyway, that ends this Q&A. As usual, if you have any questions, post them on my Facebook page, through messages, through email, or this YouTube comment below. This is New Sensei. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.